Welcome, 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 everybody. Happy Carnival. Yes, yes, yes. Come on in the room. We have been excited and sharing. I came on today, no makeup, bare face, fresh face. So if you see a little puffiness or anything, it's just because there's no hiding it. I just want to come as I am today. So I hope you all will get in here, join us in this conversation. I know that this has been a lightning rod kind of energy this week, and really since we kicked off here for what it's February. It's been so lit energetically since January 1st that every week we've had something to share and to talk about. And so for me, I'm coming in today representing at Southern University Jaguars. I'm kicking off the show saying no matter who won, we won, the Southern University Jaguars. And so I want to kick off the show today as people join in and get in here with just a little fun, a little lightheartedness, just in case you didn't know where I stand on a few things. So let me just get into it. For those of you who know me, you know that I love our Southern culture and all. And when I say Southern culture, honey, that includes the jukebox. So Southern won. I consider Southern one winning. If you know a little bit about us, you know this song. I came out good time. What's on my mind? Got my hey. Hey, I just had to open up with a little fun today. Woo, shout out to the Southern Jukebox and anybody else that's in the SWAC. If you know anything about the SWAC is where it's at. If you're not in the SWAC, shout out to all of the other HBCU attendees, graduates, and so on and so forth. It's a good feeling to see your people and represented. So let me go back. I'm going to keep going because as more people come into the room, say hi. Let me know you're here. What's up? What's up, Sabrina? As folks come on in, some folks got my text a few minutes because we're normally starting at 1:00, but that's okay. I'm going to keep it going, keep it flowing, because I made a post this week and and it got a lot of conversation, and I just want to do a recap of a few things that I shared to before we go into a bit of a focus group. Hopefully everybody gets the message and is able to get in here because I want to get your feedback and your opinion on a few things as we move forward into our new series. So let me go right on in. What's up, Yanaza? Welcome, my love. Get that girl, that name. You done spell that name all kind of ways. So anywho, check this out. You should be able to it switched, but I'm gonna go back to it. It switched up on me. I guess things do funny things when talking about technology. So I shared this this week. Hopefully, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Okay, nope. Let me get it up there. All right. So I shared this week, right? because, what I said was there's a lot of talk in the culture like you weren't moved by the show. Good. Okay. Because I was so shocked at what I was seeing amongst ourselves, right? That's initially during the show and then right after the show. Then there were people, intellectuals, people with degrees who were like, oh, it was boring. Okay. So good. It was boring for you. And you don't care about other people saying, I don't care what your dissertation says. I don't enjoy it. I didn't like it. We could have had something better. Okay, well, even better, because and then we went on to, I saw another so-called spiritually conscious person that says um that they were using woke philosophy and used it as though it was derogatory. Well, it was never derogatory. Erykah Badu cleared that up. She was really the mother of using that term, and she had a whole interview where she cleared that up. And yes, it's been usurped and made into something negative by the whole election politics, but it's not a derogatory term, and no one can take that from us. But what kept everybody talking was not just the performance, but the meaning of the performance all into the week, even until now. People are doing layers, and we're going to explore some of them. But in other words, Not Like Us was very effective. It was very effective because here we have a whole wrap up. I don't even know. I saw it. I grabbed it, shared it. There was no one to cite. So if you know who was the originator, I'm not one of those who will copy and not paste who it is as well. So nevertheless, it talks about the Uncle Sam, the warning to Kendrick from Uncle Sam, the Squid Game stage. Now, some people saw Squid Games, some people saw the PlayStation controller, the other people caught the flag. I don't know if the flag is even on here. They call it the red, white. Oh yeah, the red, white, and blue dancers. Yes, it's on here. And then the setting being a prison yard. Like, did you catch that? No, because a lot of people are just like wanting to be entertained. It talked about protecting Black women as a nod to Serena Williams. Like, everything was very deliberate. Who came on the stage, what message they were sending. Even though this came out of a quote unquote diss track, this is not unnew for hip hop culture. Hip hop culture began as a message culture before it was infiltrated by the FBI and CIA to now to have us turn in on ourselves and become gangster rappers. And now it's pretty much whores and pimp music, okay, and orgy music, or well, drug music, lean music, and that type of thing. So, and then of course the message to Drake, and then the call of action, and then the game over. Now that's one level. There's more. What did you see? Some of you saw something else. So that's just one level of what we saw, right? And by the way, we're broadcasting today on a Leo full moon. And so we're going to try to get a little bit of that in there. What's up from Toronto, Canada? I love it. Hey, Toronto, Canada. And then I got my name all, I don't know, Latoyana. I don't know who that is, but hey, what's up? What's up to the family, to the tribe, as you come in on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm not broadcasting today, on Instagram intentionally. And I'll share more about that in a moment. And so I'm going to go to the next share because this is something I want you to consider. Have you seen it? Just tell me so far. Did you all see my post? Those of you who are here, did you see it? What's your thoughts? Talk to me now. So I want to start with which one do I want to go to next? While we're criticizing, there are other people who are paying attention to the energy of this particular Super Bowl. Let's see. I don't want to go to the high level. I want to go. So let me go to this one. Since folks think that, they don't need dissertations. All levels of people are talking, are and expanding their consciousness. So let me get to play this.
That has become clear to me in Kendra Comar's performance last night is 40 acres and a mule. And that line is particularly potent for many Black Americans. And it happens to be a line that I remember from my education growing up in grade school in the Bronx. And I vaguely remember what it was about. It was something that was promised enslaved people. I can't remember whether I was told it was before or after emancipation, but it had to do with the Civil War. And I've since had my memory refreshed. And it was something that the federal government promised enslaved people that they would get. And it would help them get a head start. But as with many promises given to Native Americans, they didn't come through. And I never really equated 40 acres and a mule because it was not something that really ever touched my life. But in thinking about it this morning, I never really equated it with something else that was very important to American life, which was the Homestead Act. Now, if you don't recall the Homestead Act, for some reason, there's a lot of American history that was that really stayed with me. And the Homestead Act,
make a note,
was an act that the federal government felt was extremely important because they wanted to populate the Midwestern part of our country, the prairie. And so they offered 160 acres free and clear to people who would farm the land, ranch the land. I guess it was really only good for farming, but they would give free and clear 160 acres to people, and they had mapped out a huge swath of prairie land. And it was white people who took that land, and that's how a lot of our Midwest cities came into being. And they didn't rescind that promise. They gave 160 acres to people free and clear. All they had to do was stake it out. And this may be apocryphal, but I seem to remember in class hearing how there was a date and they had people lining up and they set off the bell and you could just go and stake out your plot of land and it was yours and you could farm it. And that was the beginning of generational wealth for a lot of white people. A lot of these people came from Germany and
from theft,
Middle European countries, and they got a stake in this country. And here we have enslaved people who were brought over against their will. And finally,
not all of us. We were already here. We were already here. That's the narrative they believe too.
They would be given 40 acres and a mule, and they got nothing. And they had to start from scratch. Just a thought. Think about that. Think about how you would feel if that promise was made to you and then you were just blown off. Okay, that's it. See you next time.
Okay. So,
hi friends.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me make sure. Let me get out of there.
Thank the thousands of you who have become my new followers because of the video that I posted about the lie that was the 40 acres and a mule promise.
Okay, some people came for her. She had to do a part 2 of that. So when we're talking about genealogy, when we're talking about feminine abundance, when we're talking about studying, when we're talking about why it's important to ask these questions and to go within, right? Why you are the one that was born in a time and season such as this. The spirituality has legs, okay? So there's another one, another popular decode that got 1 million views because it was a white girl who was breaking down the code of the Super Bowl. I couldn't find that one fast enough, so we're gonna have to go straight to the spiritual one. So I was working my way up, right? Because there were several things happening, right? So okay, here we go. All right, so oh yeah, it's okay, sweetie. I appreciate you even being here. It's all right. Okay, so look, hold on. We're gonna share another one, and then let's talk about it. Have you seen it? My question to you is, have you seen it? Okay.
Just like I said it would, huh? Shout out to everybody that been hitting me up, thanking me. You're welcome.
Wait a minute. I don't want that one.
Do. I expected the racists to be upset.
Nope.
I told y'all symbolism is the key to life. I hope y'all won big. Everybody that been hitting me up, thanking me. You're welcome. Remember, I told y'all symbolism is the key to life. I hope y'all won big. Remember, eagles represent freedom, higher vision, and divine power. Eagle has long been a symbol of transcendence, seeing beyond the illusion, breaking free from control. It represents those rising above the system. Chiefs represented leadership, traditional authority, the ruling class, the old way, the ones who have governed and controlled. Eagle also represents spiritual awakening, defeated the chiefs to establish power. This was a war between the old and the new, between those who seek freedom and truth, those who wish to maintain authority and control. Don't forget the hierarchy. War isn't just won in one single battle, though. The game was just one chapter. War is happening inside of every single person watching. Before I break down that Super Bowl performance, ritual, whatever you want to call it, let's break down the score. 40 to 22. I told y'all the numbers always tell you a story. Both of these numbers reduce to 4. 4 is the number of the physical world. Remember that. As well as order, foundation, and control. Battle is over the foundation of reality itself. Who controls the rules? Who decides how the game is played? I had to go a little bit further. The difference between the scores was very interesting to me. 18 points. My numerology people at though. What does that 18 reduce to?
A 9.
9. Year 2025 is the year of what?
The feminine.
9. Once again, signaling the end.
Feminine, put that in the chat.
Last number before reset. Closing of an era before something new begins. So in my mind, the war is reaching a critical moment. Which leads me to my next point because the war played out right on stage. If you had eyes to see, you already knew what was happening. But I see there's a lot of people who do not have eyes that see clearly. So many were confused, so many were saying this was the worst halftime performance ever. Because you want to be entertained. Which it was very entertaining. It's deeper than that. Kendrick came in hot. Revolution is about to be televised. You picked the right time for the wrong guy. I almost threw my damn phone. He told us what about that. This was a coded transmission, a ritual. He started off with the tic-tac-toe board and Uncle Sam played by Samuel L. Jackson. Now tic-tac-toe is a game of entrapment and strategy. Do you win or you get caught in the endless loop? Then Uncle Samuel Jackson steps as the system stepping in, controlling the board, making sure the game is always played their way. You heard him between almost every song, trying to interrupt and tell him what to do, trying to make sure he didn't sing They Not Like Us. Kendrick starts rapping on an old school card which represents history. History repeating itself, but the past still running the present. Answers in red, white, and blue emerge from the car. American flag in human form. The control masses. In this man raps, the revolution is about to be televised. This is the moment, the shift. But you gotta ask, is it real or is it manufactured? Then he takes us into Squabble Up. Dances in red behind him, the ones in white in front of him. It represents polarity, division, conflict, battle between power, which is red, and control, which is white. And boom, here comes Samuel L. Jackson, aka Uncle Sam. He checks Kendrick once again, just like in real life. Never a leader, a voice gets too loud. Y'all already know what happened. Send in those gatekeepers. And Uncle Sam told him to tighten up, aka stay in line. Saying, you think you playing the game, but baby, we on the board. We gotta be humble, sit down. Dancers form what looks like an American flag around. He's in the middle as the disruptor. System is locking in around him. Who's being told to sit down? Him? The people? System? The disruptors? Who? Then I hear one of my favorite lines. I got royalty, got loyalty inside my DNA. Dancers behind him, all white. representing purification and higher consciousness. This is the ascension of a bloodline. Like I've been telling you,
Come
this isn't just
on.
about physical DNA.
Genealogy.
This is about spiritual inheritance. Who are the rightful rulers of this cycle? Because remember, we just shifted into a new age. And you see him rapping and the female dancers behind him, and they have a peekaboo hairstyle. One side black, one side red. Represents duality, deception, and the two faces of the system. Like that checkerboard in human form. If you know, you know about the checkerboard. Then you gotta ask, what's being revealed? What's still hidden? Now the dancers form a circle or the infinite cycle, spiritual gateway or the portal. Red and white is alternating, representing sacrifice and ascension. In the middle of the circle, Kendrick and SZA are performing All the Stars Are Close, represents the alignment, the prophecy, cosmic shift playing out before our eyes. Then they start teasing us, making us think they about to put They Not Like Us on. And he says, it's a cultural divide. I'ma get it on the flow. Try to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. Cultural divide is the illusion of separation, war of ideology. Try to rig the game is just telling you the system is built off deception. Oh, and pre-planned outcome. He said, but you can't fake influence. Real power isn't given. It's embodied. It's innate. It's spiritual. He walking in the circle singing They Not Like Us. When he wraps it up, he says, turn the TV off. I don't think y'all listening. Turn it off. Just know the power is shifting, but influence is the real currency. The old world is ending and the new world is forming. The overall message is you have a choice. You can either stay plugged in or turn the TV off. You didn't know this war is spiritual. This whole performance just broke the shit down. I don't care if you like him or not. I don't care if you think this was satanic or not. Earn symbolism. Everything ain't demonic. Earn people put in certain positions at certain times for certain reasons. Stop trying to be mad at the messenger all the time and catch the message.
Okay. All right. And so listen, did you all see that when you were looking with that frame of mind? Because even when there's another higher level than this, because I was trying to find a good clip from Sister Myra teaching on the Super Bowl. She always has predicted the Super Bowl, but in her predictions, she teaches you how to pay attention, because each one of those symbols of each team represents something astrologically. And so she broke that down for us on Saturday at the 9 Fest of the Gods. And she told, one of the things she said was, we cannot lose, that this represents the 14 aspects of Asar on both teams, because Philadelphia is the first place of the Republic, or the Constitution, and all. It's so much history when we talk about Philadelphia. Okay. And so you got to also pay attention to the city so when we look at the government and the changes, we're going back to and restoring a lot of things that really have been defunct and defective. Okay. The red and black, she saw one thing in terms of a checkerboard, but what I see, the red and the black represents war for some people. When politicians wear a red tie, it's usually a wartime tie. Okay. But the red and the black in spiritual systems also represent Elegba and the warriors. Okay. Should we go on? Yes, we should. There's another one that I have for you, because people were being so negative that Sis came back with part 2. And the way she opened it is exactly how I feel about us. I say, pay attention. Pay attention. Okay. Pay attention to how people are responding.
Some of my own people, and I get, not everybody understands symbolism. If you think any of this shit was just for entertainment, you're not seeing the bigger picture. Also realize that everybody can't go. Some of y'all asses gonna be left behind. This man doing a whole performance talking about freedom and liberation of our people.
Start it over.
Serious question. How much more bootlicking can some of y'all do? I expected the racists to be upset. Some of my own people, and I get it, not everybody understands symbolism. If you think any of this shit was just for entertainment, you're not seeing the bigger picture. Also realize that everybody can't go. Some of y'all asses gonna be left behind. This man doing a whole performance talking about freedom and liberation of our people, and you're mad. Go sit with your master, for real. But anyway, I knew this was the final piece of the ritual when they flashed this across the screen. Mind you, I did not watch the Super Super Bowl, so some of this shit is coming to me late. However, in my first video, I forgot to address something. This was like the final stamp on this reality. This was the declaration that the old world is done and the new era is here. This ties directly into the rise of consciousness we've been talking about, rise of the divine feminine energy that was suppressed, as well as the year of 9, which is completion. Every ending leads to a rebirth. This is why the powers that ain't are desperately clinging to control. Illusion is breaking more.
Wait a minute. I want you to hear what she said. I want you to hear that, what she said about rebirth.
Of 9, which is completion. Every ending leads to a rebirth. This is why the powers that ain't are desperately clinging to control. Illusion is breaking more. People are waking up faster than ever. The ones that was controlling the board know that the game they created is over. A lot of y'all just don't know. Y'all still want to keep playing and participating. You get mad at the ones telling you that the shit is over. Yeah, conditioning really got y'all in a chokehold. Ain't flashing these words in that crowd for no reason. That was a ritual conclusion. System as we've known it is crumbling. Good. Anyway, let me call out some of the things that I missed in part 1. I love SZA performance, more so because I know about the symbolism. The way she was slithering, she was embodying something ancient. Her presence in red screamed power, transformation, creation. Picture above, she's sitting in the portal. This represents the feminine birthing a new reality. SZA was there because she is a symbol that we are reclaiming our place as the divine feminine. Esoteric symbolism, what does X represent? I'll answer at once. These two intersecting lines form an X. In ancient cultures, X is linked to creation, womb, and balance between the physical and spiritual world. So this X in the middle of the stage when he performed Peekaboo was not random. This ties back once again to the rise of the divine feminine energy like we've been talking about in so many videos. If she was moving like a snake, reinforced this. That was the Kundalini energy rise in the divine feminine. Y'all know X also marks the spot, the center of it all. X marks the spot is also the hidden truth, treasure, a revelation. I mean, think about in pirate lore. X on the map symbolizes what? Where the treasure is. In a lot of the secret societal groups, X is what unlocks a lot of the hidden knowledge. It was also a part where the dancers were moving in like an S shape. It also symbolizes the Kundalini energy rising amongst the collective. Of course, you have the rise of the divine feminine and then the rise of the collective as a whole. You gotta also remember we ain't in the year of 9 yet, not spiritually. We are physical. If we go according to cycles, March 20th will be 2025. 2025 symbolizes the year of the serpent. Is another indication of Kundalini rising. Again, this performance was a direct nod to the collective to wake up. Hear me clearly when I say this. I'm not just talking to my copper color folk. When you're talking on a conscious level, then you know that nothing is separate from me. Race is not even a real construct. Something else man-made to cause divisions. This is time for all of us to wake up to the illusions, wake up to the control, wake up to the BS we've all been lied to about. For real, it does not matter how you feel about the performance. Let me swing it on back around to the race. No matter what pedestal you think you've been put on, no matter how much you try to separate yourself from the truth, you still eat the same poison-ass food that I do. Majority of y'all still have to clock in for somebody else's dream. You're still subject to the same man-made ass diseases. When you understand genetics, sometimes more, you're involved in the same broken system. That same game was never built for your ass either. But collectively, that was the message. Overall, though, this performance was a direct nod to my people, copper color.
Yes, it was.
We even lied to the most. We even programmed the hardest. I mean, it's clear and evident. I just told y'all that people that look like me is mad about the performance, even though he's telling you to free and liberate yourself. We're stripped of our history, our divine power, as well as our divine connection. If you part of any other racial group outside of the copper color race, then there's no shade here. I can promise you that. But y'all had 400 years. 400. I mean, y'all rising too. We just rising higher. I mean, y'all see what it said. Game over. That's why this performance was filled with esoteric code. X, the serpent, the red, white, and blue. SZA representing the divine feminine, them being in a portal. Card representing history repeating itself. Dances in their color. Kendrick stood in the middle of what looked like a flag in human form, just to show that we, as the so-called blacks, the copper color race, carried this country on our backs for ages. All the symbolism was there to wake us up. I'm sure there's a lot more that I missed too. At this point, if you can't see, it's not meant for you to see. Make sure y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments.
All right. Is there more? Absolutely. Again, I happened to get a chance to be in person with Sister Myra on Saturday, who did not give a prediction, right? This time she did not give a prediction. At first, she thought that it was going to be the chiefs, because they represent the indigenous people, and the indigenous people have been positioned to reclaim the true indigenous people. That connects to the 14th Amendment. Whenever you see the 14th Amendment, you have to look at what 14 means in terms of the cosmology. And when you look at the cosmology, you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at the deities that own that particular number and that particular symbol. But when we start talking about Asar, even in the Bible, when we talk about Asar, we're talking about the when the baby was brought before the king, and there were two people claiming the baby, and the mother, come on now, spirit, talk. Then the mother said, and they said, well, this is my child, and so the mediator said, well, let's cut him into two pieces, and then you take a piece. And he knew that the mother would be the one that would say, no, don't cut my child, because y'all understand that it is scriptural references in this when we talk about codes, if you can't get with this, right? So there are places for us to be able, yes, the real mother spoke up, right? And so right now we're in the season. This is why I use terms with you like the mothership, then a mother shift, mama season, because it is the season for the mother within you also to rise. Why? To remother yourself. In order for the thing that's stopping many Black women from standing fully in your power is because you've accepted the patriarchal definition of your womanhood. And me too. See, when I come on here with all this passion, I'm just like you. And if anything, I'm probably more like the ones who've been bumped in the head. Hiram Abiff, huh? The one that the cornerstone was built for him and had lost their memory. Okay, so because I come from Mississippi, I come from the South, where we're heavily indoctrinated. Okay, and we're heavily indoctrinated with that old time religion, baby. And when you bump up against anything, and I've been bumping up against it since I was 18 years old. Some of you all are just starting at 38, 48, 58. So you resist when you hear it because it scares you. But the truth of what you're hearing that scares you is you being afraid of you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So I think I have one more before we get into a conversation. I want to hear what you saw and what you felt in this season. All I know is when Sister Myra said, no matter who wins the Super Bowl, because the other thing I need to say to you is when we start talking about symbols and codes, we're talking about communication. Even though we're using the terms that seem metaphysical and woo-woo to some people, this is how priesthoods communicate. They don't always gather in a meeting, but they use the television to send messages to one another of how to invest, how to move the next piece on the board, how to ritual in your space. They don't always meet up. And there are nefarious priesthoods that are fighting for their life because they do not want the exposure of the level of predatory laws, policies, underground movements, tunnels that are connected beyond entertainment and into our politics. And some of us are fighting for the limitations of our own people, thinking that we're doing something in favor of freedom. And we are the ones who would sell ourselves out very quickly. But we don't know. We're not doing it intentionally. So I know that what the sister said was loaded. That's not my ministry to make those kind of videos. But honey, I love it when the other ones do. I'm the ministry of when you get it, when you're ready to get it or you get it, and you say, what do I do now? How do I apply this to my life? That's what rebirth is. When you're ready to rebirth yourself. Okay? So I could end the live right now. So those of you all who came in late, I started out with a video to Southern University, shouting out the Southern University Jaguars. I could not get another video together of the Indians, feathers up to all of those who understand what the feathers represent. The Indians, the chief, the original people that Christopher Columbus discovered and called us a name, but we had a name. We were the Niji people. We were the Mound people. We were the Washita people, huh? We had a name. We were the Natchez people. It was many names and many tribes. That's us. And there was migration happening on that Mississippi River. Okay? So listen. There's so many things. And look, Kendrick, let's not forget that Kendrick Lamar is a Gemini. Okay? You got to look that Gemini is the universal channeler. I didn't even know I had the gift of channeling because for Geminis, it comes so natural. And so a Gemini energy in the age of Aquarius means that it's time for the trumpet to sound. It's time for the people who haven't been talking to start. It's time it's time. It's time. If you feel that it's time, it's time. And when you know and can see that the glass is half full, it may look like we're going through a period and a season of difficulty. But anybody who reads anything other than what you've been taught to read, one of those things for me was the Holy Quran. And the Holy Quran says, after difficulty comes ease. And after ease comes difficulty. It's given by the number of 3, honey. 3 is also the number of wholeness. But when we start talking about 13 and 14, we're talking about rising above the 3rd and 4th dimension. We're talking about going into 5th dimensional conversations. I've been loving this week. I've been loving the high level conversation. Oh my God. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh, dripping. It's such a turn on. The sapiosexuals in the chat, you know what I'm talking about. This is a turn on for spiritual intellectuals. This is a turn on for people who do this for real, who are not just entertained, that you don't mind reading a book, that you don't mind unlocking the code in yourself. I would say rebirth is a key, baby. When you come get a reading, it's a key. And then you get another key. And before you know it, you got a whole set of keys. Huh? That's what genealogy does. The genealogy unlocks your conversation with your bloodline. When the Bible says, speak to the blood. Well, what blood? I'm talking to my own blood, and my own blood talks back to me. I love it here. I love it here. I love it here. Because epigenetics is something, when he said, I got royalty inside my DNA. Come on, y'all. Folks want to be mad, honey. Baby. So what if this is the last halftime show that they let somebody up? By the time we don't care. We don't care. Just like we don't watch the Oscars. The last time I saw it, they had Dolly Parton barely hanging on. But anyway, I didn't watch the game, but I did see the commentary, and it was really great. Thank you, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl. Good looking out. Good looking out. So listen. Has this been good to you though this week? Higher level conversations. It was a little disappointing at first when I saw where intellectual people, but let me tell y'all something about social media. We got to consider the source. There are some people who only went to school, got good grades to get a degree, that never question anything. They only follow. They make really good employees. And when they become employees, they make really good managers and supervisors who gatekeep. And they get a microphone and they become like other people who look like they're for us and they're not for us. They're not like us. It's a good time, baby, to be the one that's not like us, huh? You understand? When you used to say, I'm not like my family. I don't understand. Why is it that I eat different? Why is it that I do my hair different? I'm not like them. That's the first place of liberation. If you can handle the fact that you're not like the people that you come from, then that's the first level of liberation. Because the people who cannot handle the rejection that comes from their own family, the rejection of your own family that does not listen to you, then when you stop caring about that and you pursue knowledge, wisdom, and understanding anyway, it's preparation. Some of you had to be initiated there first before you could go into higher systems of initiation. You had to stop worrying about, well, what if I'm not welcome at the Christmas? I don't do Christmas anyway. How about that? What happens when you stop doing Christmas? When you stop eating pork? When you stop, and then you start other things. You start wearing crystals. You start with your hair natural, and it's your own people that look at you and call you crazy or talk about you behind your back. This is why you hear me telling the empaths, the creatives, the healers, the helpers, the energy workers, the seers, the gifted ones, the hearers, the ones who can decode and translate. It's your season, baby. And your people are going to need you. So you might as well put on the whole armor. Put on the whole armor. Because you're gonna need it sometimes for the very people that you want to save. They don't want that. What's that rap song that says she don't want to be saved? Huh? I want to save her, but she don't want to be saved. And that's sometimes the next level of your process, of your Shiro's journey. The next level of your journey is when you start accepting that some people are dangerous to your liberation because you're holding on and you want to pull them with you because they love you. And not to mention the people who fought you. I don't know, I've been doing this a long time, so I got a wide range of stories. I have people, honey, that fought me, that ran from me, that said it didn't take all that. And then they had an experience. It might have been church hurt. And church hurt made them question some things. And then they ended up being right back at the place that LaTanya was talking about when they said it didn't take all that. And then they want to become you. You think I don't see all that? Anyway, let's keep going. But they don't come back and say, damn, sis, when you were saying that, I didn't realize how shut down I was. When you was talking about all that, I didn't know. Not to mention women with mother wounds. So when we're talking about on social media, you got to understand that I made the mistake. I told you all the other day in a post, I said I made the mistake of commenting on somebody's post because they were an initiated priestess. But just because people are in the same spiritual circle as you does not mean they have the same spiritual consciousness of you. And you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. And if you have not defined that for yourself, you may be sitting under subjugation. And every time you take two steps forward, there's something that happens that brings you 10 steps back. I've been there before. I've sat in pulpits like that because I knew I was called to ministry. But I would sit in the pulpit and I would hear what would be coming across the pulpit. And I'd be like, oh my God, no. And I would leave. And my spirit would be so heavy. And I didn't understand until the Holy Spirit said, you can't keep doing this. You are becoming a hypocrite just like them. Either you're going to do what you've been called to do, and it may not look like any of your peers. Ooh-wee. Stop trying to copy the right cat and tap into your inner feline that is feral. You may need to. I didn't plan to come on here and say all this. Lord have mercy. I didn't plan to get into this. Let me stop. Let me save this for. Oh, you say my entire family? Talk back to me. My entire family, best friends. I'm just looking at them now, kind of gloating. Honey, not to mention, if you are the one who was wise enough to say no to this vaccine for your children and that vaccine for this one and that one, you was wise enough not to go along to get along years before it became a 2020 issue. And people looked at you crazy if you didn't put your children in traditional school, or you worked hard so that they could be in programs, enrichment programs, because you needed to go make them come. Who am I talking to in here? Who am I talking to in here today? You are the real underground freedom fighter. It don't have to look like the stories, and half of these stories have been concocted. We've been lied to about everything. How many of you read the Martin Luther King files? Now, let me tell you something. There was a segment of us who knew before the documents were released, but we couldn't tell you. Because for a period of time, a lot of people, I know the people who are not Hotep. They're not Hotep. If you're not a Hotep, say that's me. I'm not Hotep. If you're not a Hotep, that you're not in that circle, the red, black, and green, the conscious community, you don't even know what I'm talking about. Then there's some of you, you're not religious. You've since have transitioned out of traditional philosophies and dogma, and maybe you're at the beginning of your journey, but you're still not there yet. You're not in the pew of judgment, pew of calling people witchcraft, witches, and all of this stuff. You're not there. So what's the space in between for the woman in between that space? What's the space in between for a woman who you're not in, you may be in African traditions even, but you haven't done any real personal development. You know how many people who have power but no personal growth? You know how many people are gifted priests, babalaos, but they have no personal growth, no accountability to their community? So where do you fit in this space? That's who I'm talking to today. I'm talking to you. Many of you have had to navigate underground. You might have pledged a fraternity or sorority, but you're not wedded to that defining who you are. You may have friendships in all walks of life, so you have enlightened conversations about commerce and investing and land and such. So you know that everybody, every white man ain't the devil for you. You know that. You have a global mindset because you've traveled, because you sat in with indigenous cultures and you saw yourself. You have a global mindset spiritually because you can go in and out of different temples and understand that God meets you at the point of your intention. God meets you in the praise and worship, but God will meet you in the African dance as well. The God will meet you in the meditation, in the quiet. God will meet you in the mountain and on the beach. God will meet you in the place of your feminine liberation, and it may be naked on a beach. God will meet you in the relationship of with somebody that's new in your life that's not like you. God will meet you there. If God has met you in a place where you thought that you were rejected, despised, and lost, God was meeting you in that place. just so you could be open to new awarenesses and new things. Because if you had not have gone through that thing, you would not have been able to question the next thing. So I don't know who that's for today, but listen, I wanted to do before we close out, because I'm done. I'm done today. I'm done. Look, I want to do a little focus group. Because just like we're talking about that we've been lied to, there are experts among us. Nefertari Bey, you're one of them. So stay tuned for this part. You all know that I did a forecast of the year, and this year is full of transits, meaning that we're going to have many changes. Y'all been hearing about this flu and stuff that's going around, and a lot of other things that they're forecasting with the money and that type of thing. Has anybody ever been in a place of your spiritual growth and development, and you ask yourself, why didn't anybody tell me? Why didn't anybody tell me this? I'm going to tell you how this conversation started. It started with some of my nieces and mentees, and we were talking about childbirth and menopause. And you all know that when I do something, I put some time and thought into it so that the mother is ordering my steps. I'm not just putting something out for likes and views, and also that I have the energy to do it, because behind the scenes, I'm not monetized. I'm not doing all this to get my money. Is not social media money. Okay. So the next series will be, why didn't they tell me about this? I want to invite you all, but I want you to tell me today, what do you think we need to be talking about? Why didn't anybody tell me? I didn't know about perimenopause and what to do about perimenopause. I went through about 6 months of hell. I gained weight. I don't hold weight. Normally my genetics is not like that. I can make some adjustments. But what about women? And then as I started to do more work, private work with people who have mother wounds, I have adult women who are telling me they have children, but nobody ever told them about even their cycle. So when I jump into the conversation about your orgasm, this is how we ended up here. Because the reason why it's such pleasure, needs so much explanation, is because many of us have been indoctrinated by so much pain. So I want you to tell me, what are some of the things that you've said, why didn't anybody tell me about this? It could be investing. It could be your hair. It could be land rights. What is it? Why didn't anybody tell you about what have you gotten into in your life? So the last Shift Talk series was the Not Like Us series. So this is a perfect transition of our breakdown into ask you answering. Tell me, what are some of the things that you wish somebody had told you about, or you're still open to learn about? For instance, I'm doing this genealogy study group for those people who want to be a part of it, because the conversation is really a spiritual conversation, not just a task management conversation. Because there are people who do genealogy research only to find out that somebody in your family was adopted, not necessarily you, but you find out something and you're like, oh my God, well, that makes so much sense. So now how do you connect the dots? Because the genealogy, keep on coming. Come on, Carmen. Welcome, Carmen. So here we go. Why hasn't anyone spoke of the new financial system? Okay, then that will be a show. We will have someone to come and talk about the new financial system. We got resources right amongst us, okay? I talked about perimenopause. What about how to build financial wealth, but not in a traditional way? How about that sleep money, the money you make in your sleep, passive income, artificial intelligence? Okay, I'm glad you agreed now, but I want you to trust. Let's bring somebody on to talk about trust. Why didn't anybody tell me about that? Why? Because our mothers didn't know. Why? Because in the 1700s and the 1800s, our land was stolen and our records were born, courthouses. You heard the white woman who just said 40 acres and a mule was a lie. She said when those immigrants came in from Ellis Isle, they were told to seize the land in the middle of the night. Do you know that there are still farmers who are experiencing this right now? In 2023, there was a farmer who bought about 50 acres of land in a place like, I'm exaggerating, but it's like, I won't say Utah, but it's one of these places where a lot of people don't buy land. Keep on putting in there. Why didn't anybody tell me about? And I'll put it up. Do you know that in the middle of the night, people were coming to poison his crops? He had cameras, but the sheriff was in cahoots with the farmer. The other farmers was threatened by a black man and woman owning llamas and creating a whole economy for themselves. When we talk about nefarious beings, they have been programmed too. Okay. So, yes, ancestry and history. Yes. I don't know how many of you have an account with ancestry.com, but there's other ways. You don't have to give them your DNA. Do you know that there's an agenda where the Mormons have bought all of our records? And they store our records. And so it's intentional that we are directed, our attention is directed to Africa so that you won't find out that your mother and father's line of people own property and one day go back and reclaim the land. This is documented. There's so much I could tell you about that, but I will get off of it. No one told us about the power of our own breath to heal. Thank you. That would be, yes, that's one. What else? The history about our birth certificate and social security numbers. Come on, sis. You talking about that straw man, huh? When you start talking about the straw man, people automatically say, oh, you one of them Moors. But they don't understand that these conversations are happening in churches. There are church congregations that are teaching their members about this so that they can do the next best thing. So this is not weird. It's just weird to us. How to embrace femininity. Let me calm down. Well, you're in the right place for that. Make sure you come into the Fab Lab for all of that, because our femininity is a gateway. And and I understand that there are some people who do not identify by gender anymore, but you're not like us. There's a space for you. It's open doors are welcome for anyone who wants to come and study it, translate it, and apply it to how they want to interpret it. But no matter how you're identifying with gender, we all have to go through the mother. You came from a woman. What's that Tupac song? I gotta get my lyrics together. Anybody who's watching that knows to Tupac's lyric? I came from a woman and a woman. Okay, so you came. Yes, the mother is the portal. Why didn't anybody tell me how not to work so hard? That part. Okay, did I miss any? Wait a minute. The power of our breath to heal, digital assets and cryptocurrency. Yes, that goes along with the new financial system, because it will be that. Now, some of you got locked up. You didn't even think. You don't know what you don't know. So you're waiting for somebody else to drop it in the comments, but you know that there have been a time where you've heard me say something, you went and found out that it was true, or you heard somebody else say something, and you said, why didn't anybody tell me? Why didn't anybody tell me? Those are the conversations. And I want to invite some of you to be on those panels. In our community, we have educators, we have people who are part of investment clubs, we have people who are unschoolers. They're not just homeschool education experts. They teach you how to unschool and learn other ways of educating your children through growing crops, through participating in different things. Okay, Rachel did it. Come on, Rachel. Rachel said, I came from a woman, got my name from a woman, and my game from a woman. Hey, Rachel. I got the cadence, but I didn't have the words. Thank you. I want to keep that up there for a minute. All right. So what else? What else have some of you may be so young that you hadn't hit perimenopause, but that's going to be a panel. So I'm inviting the nutritionists, the herbalists amongst us to help women. I'm coming through on the other side of it. One thing that my mama Ia taught me is don't go teaching about stuff that you still in the middle of. Now, a lot of the young folks, they come and they go take other people's courses, and then they go hang out a shingle, but they got the power, but no personal development and no accountability. So I wasn't coming to teach on perimenopause while I was in it. Just wasn't. I had to learn and study myself and what was going on. Many of us are malnourished in the first place by this food. This is the only country that allows its people to poison. The big corporations pretty much poison us. And when I didn't know that until I lived abroad. Anybody ever told you about living abroad, studying abroad, or you just were taught to go to school and get a good education? Okay, so I was hoping that you all would tell me, and what panels would you like to be on? Is it health and wellness? Is it education? I want your voices. I want you to be a part of the panels, okay? So please, I want you to make sure that you join us and you get into the space. Now here, Rebirth has a few things that's going on. One, let me go on and share while you all are still commenting. We have a prayer circle every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. weekly. Come join the mothership. It costs you nothing. A woman who does not pray or does not know how to pray can never be the priestess of her own household. It's not going to come through your intellect. Okay? Simple as that. I don't convince people to pray, but you can also come into the feminine leadership lab as a safe place to explore your feminine and become the priestess of your own household. Get juicy and rebirth your womanhood. You can come into that. Right now, the entrance does not cost anything to come in. Join us on Wednesdays. There's some other discussions that we have going, but all the programs also in the Fab Lab are hosted there, okay? And if you're just joining for the first time, I forgot to introduce myself. Hey, I'm LaTanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits, okay? So come back, join us. If you can hit the subscribe button, that would be great. And then the next time that we get together, so there's no excuse. If you don't have the money and all that, the lack consciousness, you got to get in proximity to abundance at the level of your accessibility. So we got Wednesdays weekly. We have Sundays first of the month. Okay. All right. And then we're getting ready to now do the genealogy. If you are a member, it is no cost to members. But if you just want to dip in and out, you'll be able to. Let me know. All right. Send me a message on any one of these platforms, Rebirth with LaTanya. Now I'm coming back to the comments to see. And of course, those of you who ask, how can you work with me? Come and get a reading. I do a thing called a frequency reading, where if you have a health and wellness, or you need to know what season you're in, then it tells you right now what's going on, mind, body, and spirit. Now the blueprint reading, This is basically your code, one of the first level of decoding the message of your love, sex, and money and how you are to move. Okay. Now let me come back to and talk about this. Yes, go to rebirthwithlatanya.info to get to everything. But if you're on social media platforms, just go to my profile, and all the links are on my profile to get you right there. Otherwise, you can go to Rebirth with Latanya. Okay. All right. So Carmen, you rolling, sis. Listen, I gotta acknowledge Carmen Calhoun. Anybody ever worked with me, you've heard me talk about the song, Are You Ready to Move? You've heard me play the song, Are You Ready to Move? When God says move. This is the Carmen Calhoun. Shout out to Carmen Calhoun. That particular song still is timeless. And so welcome into the space, and you certainly can it could be welcomed into the community. But she says, why didn't anyone tell me about abortion PTSD and the phantom pains that come later in life? Ashe, that's a good one. Yes. Yes, I'm doing wellness readings called frequency reading. The frequency is a wellness reading. It's a mental wealth reading. And when you do the full frequency reading, you also get an ancestral reading from me. Okay. All right. So yes, ma'am, these preservatives are killing us. We're going to have you on the panel, sis. We are going to have you on the panel. Why was you discouraged from traveling abroad? We're going to have expats, an expat show, and so on and so forth. So this series is going to be lit. If you would like to be on the panel discussion or one of the experts, I would like you don't even have to be an expert to be on the panel. And I would like it to be someone that has been in the community, because each of you are light posts in your own way. There's also, let's talk about some people who are not here, who are nonprofit experts, right? Setting up your nonprofit. Now, let me tell you another thing real quick. How many of you are in the Atlanta area? We're getting ready to have a reboot of the Sisters in Success brunch. But the first reboot is going to be a happy hour. And the Sisters in Success is really going to be an exclusive space for successful women in business to come to do a lot of the personal work and also network, because there's life in us being able to do business together. So if you're interested in that, send me a message, drop a message, tag me in the comments here, and all of that good thing. Good. Anybody have my my link in my bio? In Atlanta, yes, it will be a live in-person event. Now, everything else that I just mentioned, Rebirth Sunday is online. The Wednesday prayer circle is on. Now, that prayer circle is dedicated to your feminine awakening. And so there's a whole, the mother goddess has been left out of the equation of all religions. So come into the sanctuary and just online and just go through the posts and see if you want to stay, if you want more, if you want to understand how this applies to you and your life. Okay. So I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. If you could keep the comments coming on Facebook. If you are speaking to me on YouTube, then you want to tag me. So if you want a response on YouTube, but you can always follow me on Instagram, TikTok. But don't follow me and just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. Don't do that. I don't want just believers, right? I want knowers. I want people who want to engage, right? So on all platforms, you can find me at Rebirth with Latanya. And if there's something else that comes to mind, I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. This has been a fun time to just recap the higher level conversations that are happening in the culture. It's time It's the season. You are the right one, baby. You are the ones that the others prayed for. It's time for you to know and to walk in the anointing that is different, that is set aside, but you got to do the work to sanctify it. You have to be the one to consecrate it. And that's what we're doing in the rebirth space. So have a wonderful day, everyone. I'll see you all on the other side. Ciao.